Hello and welcome. Today's menu, we're going to Osaka, Japan, where we're going to be doing a fun and creative way of doing sushi. We're going to take the guesswork out of it for everybody. We're going to, so you won't have to deal with any seaweed or any rolling or trying to just make sure that it stays all. What we are going to make today is a wonderful spicy California maki roll. So it's going to stack basically. So it's going to look like this at the end result. And I'm going to walk you through on how to make it. All right, so first of all, just make sure that you have everything prepared. That's the one thing about any sort of Japanese, Chinese, Korean, any Asian type food, that when you're creating it, the number one hardest bit about it is the prep work. Putting it together takes minutes. It's really simple. However, the prep work is usually your timing. So make sure that you have your shrimp cooked and to your favorite style of doing it. I particularly like adding a little bit of a sweet chili sauce to mine when I'm cooking up the shrimp, or some sort of little heat. I like a little heat in mine. So, but if you don't, nice lemon, salt and pepper, very simple. It's all that's needed. And or if you have a special recipe that you like a citrus or anything along those lines will work well. Also, make sure that you've cooked your rice and that it is cold. So you can either use the microwavable rice that we have out now that takes 2 minutes. I love those when I'm making things like this because they're drier and they're more pliable. They can work better for you. Pour out your rice wine. You need about 2 tablespoons of that, please. Make all your garnishes for your black sesame seeds as well as your soy. Make sure you have all that out. And of course, your Japanese or your hot mustard, hot mayo, your sriracha. You can either buy it in the bottle like this. I go this way for these kind of ideas for the amount of times I use it. It lasts forever in the fridge. You can just keep it there. It's a couple of bucks down the ethnic aisles if you're looking in any of the grocery stores. If not, you can make your own. If you do have sriracha in the oil, you just add it to about 4 tablespoons of light mayonnaise. If you make your own mayonnaise, if you really want to get really authentic, that's the best way to go. But if you're just wanting to shoot the breeze and just enjoy it, I recommend that. Rice wine, relatively inexpensive as well in your grocery stores. You can find it, and it's usually the same aisle as you would your soy sauce, your fish sauces, things like that. If you don't have it, don't panic. We are cooking here. We're not baking, so there is no real trauma when it comes to being exactly precise. But if you are looking to purchase it, you can get it in any grocery store. But if not, that's a little bit of dry white wine will work well, or a little, if you want a little bit sweetness through it, a little sherry, that also works well. And then just make sure your cucumbers are cut up. For your avocado, when you're mashing up your avocado, I like to add a few drops of either fresh lemon juice or lemon out of a bottle. This way it keeps it from going brown. So it keeps it color, it keeps it nice. Doesn't change the flavor. It just with the acidity in the lemon juice, it just helps it keep that nice green coloring that we got. So if you have it, just give me a moment. I'm going to show you what the table will look like. You'll also need ramekins, or you can use a 1 cup flat bottom measuring cup, like a dry measuring cup. They work as well, but I like the ramekins because if you're having more than one, you can set them all up, put them in the fridge, leave them overnight if you need to, or until you're about to serve them, and then invert and set, and away you go. And of course, our finished product when we're through. So let me get started and we'll walk you through it. So here's basically how your board will look. I'm doing 1, of course, but if you're having 4, as a recipe goes, you'll have the 4 ramekins. Lightly grease your ramekins as well, just even with like cooking spray or if a little bit of the oil, just so that it slips out a little simpler. Nothing too much at all to take away the flavoring for it, okay? Now, as I mentioned before, when you're creating this, you don't have to be exact. You don't have to be so precise. And please, please, please enjoy it. We're about cooking. It's about letting the love come through into the plate. And of course, you're trying something a little different. If it's your first time trying something outside of your realm, great. I'm really happy you're with me to do this. But don't panic about it. For example, if somebody's allergic to avocados, just leave them out. Because you're only needing about 2 tablespoons anyways. It's more of a binding, so it's no problem. If, like me, can eat chives, you can change it up to a green onion or a scallion and cut them up nice and thin. It gives a nice flavoring too. It's very much in the Asian flair. The only thing I recommend that you don't use in these stacks is cilantro. It is a big no-no, especially in Osaka, Japan. Now, a little bit about Osaka. It's a beautiful area. The port of call when you're coming in on a cruise ship will be Kobe. And of course, we all know Kobe because of the fantastic beef. And when you're coming in and you're going to Osaka, Osaka is known as the kitchen of Japan. So it's a little bit of a highlight. So it's definitely a foodie location. It's not too, it's a little bit away from Tokyo, but you can get to and from there quite simply, especially if you're using the bullet train. They can get up to about 400 kilometers an hour. These trains are phenomenal. You feel like you're just gliding until another train comes by in the opposite direction, and then you feel like you're coming off the tracks. But that's a whole new story for when we're talking about Osaka, Japan, and Kobe, and then we'll go into the geisha world a little bit too in a fair bit time. But currently right now we're just in the cooking process of getting your spicy California stacks all prepared. Okay, so if you're following along, your first step is going to be your cucumber and your chives or your green onion combination. You're going to put them in a bowl together. What you're going to do is you're going to cordon them out to different, for the 4 ramekins. So you're going to split what you've created up into the 4 ramekins and then just put a base in. So your base will look like this, okay? And then that's lovely. Next up is the avocado, crushed avocado. You can make it as chunky or as fine as you like. You can add a little bit of jalapeno to it if you want to make it even a little bit spicier. I don't think it needs it, but it's up to you. It's all about the creativity. You're going to take about 2 tablespoons of the avocado and just smush it around into the ramekin or the 1 cup dry mixing cup that if you want to use it that way. Ramekins are really inexpensive too. You know, you can go to most of the dollar stores that are around, the 99 piece shops. You should be able to find them there. They usually come in a set of 2 or a set of 4 or 3. So you can decide, but there you go. So now that's what's starting to look. So you've got your cucumber, your green onion, and, your chives. Then you're going to have a slight layer of the avocado over top. So next up, of course, is the protein. The protein we're using today is shrimp. I'm using a tiger shrimp, a Thai tiger shrimp that I found in the grocery store because it was on sale. So you're going to flatten that out to make the layer. So again, there's our layering process taking place. And then when in the rice, so with your rice, as I mentioned, you've added your 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar or your dry white wine into the mixture of the rice when it was coming out of the pot or out of the microwave. Let it really come to room temperature. Everything should be cold, right? As I mentioned earlier. So make sure that everything is to room temperature. So you're just going to take your rice and you're just going to add it on. So it's about 1/3. But you can just split it up. You may have some extra, you may, or you can just add more. There is no calculation of everything going. If you wanted to add a little flavor or make it a little bit, and you just by chance have some sesame oil around your house, and you can get sesame oil in the same aisle as you'll find your rice vinegars, your fish flavoring, your soyas, as well as your spices. So you're just going to pack it in, and when I mean pack it in, I mean literally pack it in. So it comes out, so that's the way it's going to look. So it's just going, when you're looking at it, you're thinking, wow, that doesn't look like much. That just looks like a bunch of rice in a bowl. Now this is where you can leave it, and you can put it in your fridge, and you can let them chill out for as long as you want. Say you're having a dinner party in a couple hours, a few hours, just pop it in your fridge and let them just kind of marry along and get happy together. If not, if you're ready to plate, then we will show you how to plate and the final product. Okay, hi and welcome back. I'm using a small plate that I'm going to be partaking with. You can use a salad plate, a dessert plate. If you want to use it into a bowl, you can do a small shallow bowl as well. I'm actually using a teacup plate, because I like the size and I like the way it forms. So simple peasy. Put the plate over the ramekin and we flip. Place it down, give it a nice tap or two, and then we shall lift. Okay, so now we're going to lift the lid off. And that's how it's going to turn out. You're going to see that you may have a couple of things left over, but mostly it's a nice stack, as we can see. Okay, so next up is now we have it all situated, and now we're going to dress it. Now it's coming garnish time. So you can see the layering. You can see a little bit of the cucumber coming, the cucumber and the either the chives or the green onion scallions. You can also see the shrimp coming through as well as the rice. Now you can use a brown rice as the recipe asks for, which is always great, or you can use a balsamic rice or a basmati rice, apologize, or a nice jasmine rice, or a really good quality, if you're looking at it, if you really want to turn it up and if you're feeling going Thai. There's different types of rices. This is a Thai purple rice, which is kind of like a wild rice. It works nicely if you're combining the two together. The other rice that I like to use when I'm doing this as well is a sushi rice. All right, so you can find these in the grocery stores. Maybe, I don't know, $4, something or other along those lines, Canadian dollars. But there's the rice. This works well, and it gives you kind of the it keeps it authentic, I find. Okay, so now we're going to dress. So this is where your soy comes into place. Now your soy can be any grade. I prefer the lowest of sodium possible. I find that you don't need all that reaction to go towards it. And then this is where your mayo is going to come in, as well as, and this is the prettiness, is the black sesame seeds. And the black sesame seeds you can pick up.
I'm having trouble connecting to the...
So you can have like the sesame seeds, and you can get these anywhere too in the grocery store. So there's a quite convenience they're easily convenient to pick up. So we're now into the dressing. We have our mounds. Our stacks are staying pretty. They look edible, just good enough to eat as it is. We are first going to start off with a little soy sauce, and all you're going to do literally is just drizzle. You don't need a lot, don't want a lot. Just want to drizzle a little bit of the soy sauce over for garnish. Next up is we're going to take the spicy mayo. Now, whether or not you've made your own or if you've not. So all we're going to do in this regards is we're just going to just drizzle it along. Okay. There we go. And last but not least, we are taking the black sesame seeds and literally just making a wonderful kind of mess. So there we have, ladies and gentlemen, that is our stacks. Okay, so there is our spicy California stack, which is our creation for today's menu to go along with our Osaka, Japan.